Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the debate of the week. Now, this debate of the week is not a versus. It's not one wrestler against another. This is a question. I've been thinking about this very carefully. Make sure this thing's centered. I've been thinking about this for a bit because, look, WrestleMania 29 was great. It was. We didn't have a problem with it. We didn't mind seeing The Undertaker against Triple H one more time, even though we got tired of it. Because pretty much Triple H lost and The Undertaker won. The end of an era match. But the question here is this. 20-0 with The Undertaker now. What happens now? Should The Undertaker, and this is going to be in the debate of the week, should The Undertaker retire right now? Here's the question. The Undertaker's been around since 1990. I remember seeing him before I stopped watching wrestling and became very sporadic at it. Now, he's done great work when he was working in the ministry, when he was a badass. Excuse me. Not everyone enjoyed the badass persona of The Undertaker. That lasted a couple of years. They were more happy to see old school Undertaker back. More of the last outlaw. They really liked it. I did. I liked it when he came back after he had been gone, after being buried by Kane, and Kane could not believe his brother was back. That one was a mark-out moment for me, because when he finally came back and you saw him as the old Undertaker, when he came in there and rolled his eyes up into his head after he took off his hat and threw back his coat, oh, that was sweet. I loved it. Since then, he has dominated and made it interesting, especially when he started doing the triangle choke with his legs. Hell's Gate. But you know what? It's 20-0 now. He's been around for at least 22 to 23 years in the WWE, not counting what he did beforehand. He's won numerous titles. He's won the Undisputed title, WWE title, the World title. He's done great work. I don't know if I didn't really check his wiki about if he went after the Intercontinental. But that's not the point. He's pretty much gone after every title that has existed that has been meaningful. When he faced Mick Foley, the Mankind, on top of the cell and threw his ass off that cell, that is a moment no one has ever forgotten. That was back around 1997 and 98. He threw his ass off that cell. Mick Foley's nose was broken. You see pieces of bone and whatever else was sticking up his nose. And he still kept going. And eventually I'm going to be doing a debate of the week about Mick Foley. But let's be honest now. He's been in the business at least 20 to 25 years. I'm just adding a little bit because of whatever work he did beforehand. But he's been there at least 20 years. And now what should be done? Should The Undertaker retire or go behind the scenes if he isn't already doing that? This is my debate. I've thought about it very clearly. The Undertaker doesn't come back but maybe once or twice a year. Maybe Survivor Series. He did that a couple of times. This time he did not for the Survivor Series. He didn't come back. I saw Survivor Series. It looks like he only comes back once a year to do pretty much WrestleMania. He'll come back just a few weeks to a month before that, and then he's going to do his little business with whoever he chooses. Maybe this time it might be John Cena, which would be actually very interesting. John Cena needs a win against The Undertaker. If John, and I'm putting this in there because this is very important for the decision of what should be done with The Undertaker and his character. If by the end of 2012 into 2011, after they do their Royal Rumble, and maybe before the next pay-per-view, The Undertaker comes back, or we get hints of it by February into March, we need to see pretty much this. John Cena has been around since 2002. He was in development in 2001 into 2 and 2000. He was working with Batista and Randy Orton. He's been around that long. Now, that doesn't seem like many years to many people, but it is. No matter if you like him or you don't, he's put in at least 10 years in the business already, at least. Now, the key of this is he needs a signature victory in WrestleMania. He's gone up against Triple H. He's gone up against HBK. But the thing is that that's not a signature win. I know HBK is big business. I'm not saying HBK is not big business. I loved HBK. He is good. You can say whatever you want about Triple H. Mr. God himself, who will take over the business when pretty much Vincent Kennedy McMahon steps down. Whenever that is. Either he dies or he finally decides he's too out of it that he can do the business. Triple H will take over. But he's not a signature victory at WrestleMania. Not big. He's already gone up against The Rock, but he could not win that because that was meant for The Rock. So he didn't get a signature victory. He got a moment, but not a victory. The person he's got to go up against is The Undertaker. Now, he's faced The Undertaker a couple of times over the last 10 years. He even helped bust, supposedly, The Undertaker's ribs at one time. I think that was Vengeance 2003. So, essentially, he's faced The Undertaker, but not at WrestleMania. If he does not face him, he will never solidify himself as a true WrestleMania champion. He won't. When he goes himself, eventually, and he will, unless he screws up and messes up with the wellness program or gets injured severely like with Edge, at the end of his run as a competitor and as a character in WWE, when he goes and gets, if they still exist, into the Hall of Fame, if he doesn't face The Undertaker by the time he does that, people are going to say, what if? What if he had faced The Undertaker? What would have happened? So honestly, this coming 2013, it is pivotal. The WWE brass must decide eventually, should John Cena go up against The Undertaker? And does he deserve a signature win? This will also be good to The Undertaker, because Undertaker's been around more than 20 years. He has worked very hard. He has gone through many injuries. The Undertaker is not permanent. And it's important that we just find out that there's going to be someone who's going to pass the torch on to. Of course, it's not an Undertaker type of character. There isn't. The only person that even comes close to that is Kane. And Kane is not the Undertaker. Kane had his moment, and I will eventually do a video on Kane. And not saying Kane isn't a great wrestler and competitor. He is. He's been around almost 15 years. He's been about 14, 15 years. He's worked well. He's done his bit. But he's not an Undertaker. He's an Undertaker-like character. Because, let's be honest, that's his brother. Not in real life, but that's his brother, supposedly. But he's not in the same caliber. He doesn't even come close. He doesn't. So there is nobody like The Undertaker. But The Undertaker's been there long enough that he's well known in the locker room and highly respected. He has done such great body of work that there are other people who've done great body work, but nothing like The Undertaker. The only person that comes close to me are two people. Mick Foley and Terry Funk. This is just my humble opinion. There are probably more than other people. You could say that Kane has done it. You could say that someone else, anyone else that has been in the business as long as The Undertaker has done great work. I know that. But since The Undertaker's done very hard, smash mouth type of pretty much wrestling and attitude, the only people I believe that's come as close as him or as at his caliber has been Terry Funk, and all the years that he worked up until he retired, and Mick Foley. Mick Foley to me is the best person that is even as close as possible to The Undertaker, because he's had as many characters as The Undertaker. He has done great promos as The Undertaker. He has done such great smash mouth type of wrestling as The Undertaker. And he's respected as much as The Undertaker in the locker room. You can say whatever about you want from Mick Foley. But Mick Foley done jobs for people. He has been respected in the locker room and has shown respect and has taught people what respect is as much as The Undertaker. So to me, that is the only person that even comes close or as close as you can get to The Undertaker. But The Undertaker is reaching a point where he needs to retire because he's going to get hurt eventually to the point where he can't even walk. Honestly. So what should be done? This is what I believe. The Undertaker, if it's not 2013, by 2014, must have a match with John Cena. It doesn't matter if you like John Cena or not. John Cena is the torchbearer for the next generation, no matter even if he is been there for 10 years and he's already nearing 40 now. He's the one that needs to get the torch. The Undertaker's carrying it right now. He must pass it on. So The Undertaker must give a signature win to John Cena at either WrestleMania 30 or WrestleMania 31. WrestleMania 30 would be the best place to do it. It's a nice round number. It will be the 20-year anniversary for The Undertaker because this will be 21-0 if he wins. If he loses, it'll be 20-1. This would actually make sense. And then after that, The Undertaker doesn't need to leave. He doesn't need to wrestle after that. He can have his bit at the next Raw and then do some pretty much promo segments afterward. He doesn't have to wrestle after that. Let him be seen behind the scenes, making the decision what needs to be done for several months after that. So by SummerSlam, he can make the decision to state if he needs to do any type of wrestling more than once that year. If it's 13 or 14, 2013 or 14, that would be okay. Let him have another match with someone else. Someone that we wouldn't consider that he needs to make a match with. Honestly, you need to put him up against someone that's important. He can go up against a Sheamus in 2013 or 14. I know that's stretching it, but he's the one that's up and coming next to John Cena. He can go up against CM Punk. He can go up against, if he comes back, Chris Jericho. Anybody that you want to put up against The Undertaker after WrestleMania would make sense to give him the option to opt out of finally being in the WWE and retiring. The Undertaker needs this to pick someone that he must lose again to. It won't have the same effect as WrestleMania with John Cena. I would suggest it would be with Sheamus. Sheamus right now was one that was being pushed. Sheamus has not had much more than that. He has not gone after a really strong veteran. There's no one there. The only person he could go up against was either Triple H, HBK. You have pretty much Chris Jericho and John Cena. And we already seen John Cena. We already seen Randy Orton. But they're not as strong veterans as the ones I just mentioned. So let him go up against either a Chris Jericho. Let him go up against a Sheamus. I would rather see those two, for the simple fact that Chris Jericho has already been talked about that he may retire, go back to Fonzie, or he's going to retire from Fonzie and do absolutely nothing. No more wrestling, no more tours, nothing, and just relax because he has earned it. He has done a lot of work. But it would make sense to go up against someone he's faced in the past. I'm talking about The Undertaker. This would make sense. And if you want someone who's an up-and-comer who really needs a rub, Sheamus is the best person to do this with. Or Ryback. Honestly, I would rather have Sheamus than Ryback because Ryback needs more time. He's not ready yet. Eventually, Sheamus, Ryback, and John Cena will be pretty much will be the main members of the Breakfast Club because honestly, with Randy Orton, I don't mind him. I don't mind the baby oil. But honestly, I'm having this really strange feeling with Randy Orton. This is just my perspective. Because of what happened with the wellness program and his daughter's getting older. I'm not saying his marriage is on the rocks. I'm not saying that. His marriage is probably not bad. But honestly, I think with Randy Orton, what he's been going through for the last 10 years, he may eventually leave. This is what I feel. I have no proof of it. But I have a feeling that Randy Orton may consider eventually going to TNA. This is just me. I don't say that with John Cena. But with Randy Orton, I believe in the next couple of years he may make that decision. I could probably be wrong about it, but this is just my feeling. But for the Breakfast Club, if that does happen, it's going to be Ryback. I'm sure they're not going to stop pushing him. Sheamus is going to be part of the Breakfast Club. And John Cena will still be in the Breakfast Club along with Triple H, even if he doesn't wrestle anymore. I could say CM Punk, but honestly, the way things are going with him, if he is in there, he may be a part-time member. But like I said, let Sheamus go up against The Undertaker. And by the time of SummerSlam, if it isn't that, let The Undertaker lose to Sheamus. And then if it's not that, at SummerSlam, let it be Survivor Series, or let him go away and then come back by next WrestleMania 31 or 32 and say, I'm no longer wrestling, I'm retiring, and then let him go into the Hall of Fame then, because he's earned it. Let him retire by the before WrestleMania 31 or 32, and let him go into the Hall of Fame. That's what I believe would be the best thing for The Undertaker. Now, what do I believe he should do after that? I don't believe he should stop being in the business, and I don't believe he will. I believe it would be best that The Undertaker open up a dojo, a training school, just like Garnia and just like Killer Kowalski. Let him open up pretty much a trainer, because he was trained very well. And I would like to see The Undertaker open up a school that he could teach people the same type of respect for the business, the same type of in-ring work you need, the same type of attitude and sensibility that you need in the business, because he's been so well trained and he's so respectful. That is what I believe would be great for him to contribute back. Now, if he's already opened up a school, great. Like I said, I haven't looked at the wiki for The Undertaker. I really haven't. I could connect it to it, but I probably won't. This is what I feel from my gut that should be done. This would be the best thing for The Undertaker. If the WWE need to sponsor him, it wouldn't be bad. Let them sponsor him, or if he has the cash, which he does, he's more than able to have the cash that's needed to do the business. Let him open up a school, and then let him teach the next generations what really needs to be done. Look at Damien Sandow. You could tell Damien has been well trained, that he has the right attitude, the right type of feel and charisma. And he got that from Killer Kowalski. That school, Killer Kowalski's school, trained great people. Look at Triple H. You can say what you want. You don't like him because he's too pretty much into politics, but he's been well trained. He has the respect for the business, no matter how much you like him or not. And he deserves it, because he's put his time in. He paid his dues. And this is how it goes. So, like I said, the best option, let The Undertaker face John Cena at WrestleMania. If it's this year or next year. Let him come back for a couple of months, face at least a Sheamus or Chris Jericho, and then either by that same year, announce his retirement, or the next year, maybe the beginning of the Royal Rumble, announce his retirement, and then he's immediately put into the Hall of Fame, because he deserves it. He should not wait until the next year. He should be inducted that year, because he has deserved it and earned it. So I hope you like this debate of the week. Subscribe and comment. I'm going to see if I can do the Raw review today. I can't guarantee, because I got somewhere to run around today. This is done very early in the morning, like about 7. And even though it's being uploaded near, I think it's like 1, because I got to go somewhere. Hopefully, I'll be able to do the Raw review on Tuesday. If not, I'm hoping Wednesday or Thursday. It is very hectic for me right now, ladies and gentlemen. So, please subscribe and comment, and have a good day.